Farmers in small-town Ontario are up in arms against the expropriation of prime farmland. The Township of Wilmot has become a battleground between Ontario farmers and the regional and provincial governments, which are pushing to expropriate farmland and make it shovel-ready for future industrial development. But that's not what the farmers want. Farmers are deeply concerned that if the government succeeds, it will set a dangerous precedent, allowing agricultural lands to be expropriated for commercial purposes without transparency.
This is terrible stewardship. This is selling our future and my children's future and all of your children's future.
What's happening in Wilmot could happen in any farm community in Ontario. So a developer shows up, offers you a deal, you don't take it, and then the government comes along. If you don't take the deal, we're going to expropriate it. Is that the Ontario that you support, Minister of Agriculture?
You'll see from your drone footage, this is some of the most lush, best farmland in all of Canada. In Ontario, only 5% of our land in Ontario is actually arable or farmable. And of that, only 1% of that is prime. So
Kevin Thomason is the vice chair of the Grand River Environmental Network. He tells me about the ongoing battle in Wilmot Township, where farmers are grappling with the potential expropriation of their land and the secrecy surrounding the process.
This part of Ontario is the most profitable farms in all of Canada. We can grow almost anything you want here. Apples, peaches, grapes, cabbages, lavender, you name it. Even within this site, we see a 500,000 pounds almost of cabbage being grown every year, which produces about half of the sauerkraut production for Ontario. So if you like sauerkraut on your Oktoberfest sausage, you don't want that farm to disappear. We lose half the supply in the province, and that's just one of the farms impacted by this mega land assembly. And about 6 months ago, we had farmers reaching out to us expressing concerns about some very strange offers they were getting on their land. And it turns out these farmers were really only being given 10 days notice to sell their land or face the threat of expropriation. And these are farms that often have been sometimes in the families since the 1800s. And to think that you're going to have your farm, your livelihood, your home, and everything taken away from you on such short notice in an area that's never contemplated development. This is a remote area that is far from our three main urban cities here of Kitchener, Cambridge, and Waterloo, and an area that's never been planned for any sort of development. In fact, it had the highest levels of farmland protection possible in this country. So if this can happen to these farmers and suddenly see their farms potentially threatened as a mega industrial site, it could happen to farmers anywhere. Doug Ford often claims that he's for the little guy and often claims that he's allowing local communities to make their choices and make decisions. But then we see him override, countless things, or the city of Toronto. We see situations like this here, where we have our regional official plan that was almost unanimously passed, 15 out of 16 local mayors and councillors, a visionary plan for the future with only minimal farmland loss, only 150 acres of farmland loss, focusing really on building complete sustainable communities with housing affordability, housing choice, public transit, all those sort of things we need for the future. Instead, we see it overridden, thousands of acres of forced boundary expansion, thousands of acres of farmland loss, overriding our local plans, overriding our local municipalities. And now we see this mega industrial proposal coming forward. We didn't even know who was behind it. For the first several months, we knew it was CanAcre, a U.S. firm hired by someone. There's a mysterious NDA. We filed 22 different Freedom of Information requests trying to figure out who's the third party behind this NDA. Is it Tesla? Is it Toyota? Is it the province? All of our Freedom of Information requests were denied. And this NDA is very troubling because it's meant when the farmers and our local citizens have gone to our local municipality, Wilmot Township, to ask questions, they were told that, sorry, we can't speak to you, we're under an NDA. When they went to the mayor and the regional councillors and said, hey, what's going on here? They said, sorry, we can't speak to you, we're under a non-disclosure agreement. When we went to our provincial member of parliament and the farmers went all the way down to Queen's Park and spent a full day wandering the hallways of Queen's Park, talking to any minister or elected official who would meet with them, we were told it wasn't a provincial undertaking, it was the region, and that our local MPP, Mike Harris Jr., keeps saying the province has had nothing to do with this. That was the story for 5 months, although it's come out recently that no, the province is actually behind it all. The province is actually funding it all. And then in a bit of a spat when the member of provincial parliament, Mike Harris, and Minister Vic Fideli threw the region under the bus and blamed the region for everything that's gone wrong, the region came back and spilled the beans saying, well, we've only been doing what you've been telling us. And so, it appears the province has had a much bigger role in all of this, and that the region hasn't been able to do anything without provincial permissions. So very concerning to see the lack of transparency, the amount of meetings happening in secret backroom deals here, and just how this is transpiring.
If you would like to support my coverage, please consider donating at mediabizergan.com/donate so I could come back here and keep covering this story as it develops. Thank you.